What's up, family? Welcome to another installment of Metaphysics on Your Mind. This particular installment, I thought we would do. Tony and I were talking, and he was asking me, what's the name of this particular this video, this episode, and kind of a recurring motif that has been kind of bubbling up in my mind is the concept of theater, whether we're talking about going to a movie theater, or whether we're talking about so-called live theater or legit theater or whatever, and how that kind of parallels the mind, and how in many cases we see what we want to see, we hear what we want to hear. It's like we have our own production going on in our head, and we're participating in a larger production, one where there are multiple productions going on, and maybe you're the star of the show in your own production, which you are, and then you're a supporting actor or actress in many other movies, the movies of your family, of your work, your colleagues, just your peeps in general. You're kind of starring or co-starring, or you might even have a walk-on or a bit part in all these different movies that we participate. We play all these roles, right? We're husbands and wives and partners, and women and men and brothers and sisters, and then we're co-workers, and we are members of the community. We wear all these hats, we have all these roles. And in the mind, in each of us, right, to a certain degree, there's no way to be able to say for sure that what's going on in your mind is something that you can fully articulate to somebody else, right? It's peculiar to you, unique to you, but we do have common experiences and common threads, and things that we can connect with. That I've experienced that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The mind is an interesting thing, because we look at the word mind, and to me it brings to mind, pardon the pun, mind, right? When you say, whose car is that? You say, it's mine. It's my car. And mine also, we think about places in the earth that are excavated for ore, for minerals, but say for silver or for gold. You dig a mine and you attempt to mine out of a cavity gold, silver, or whatever it is that you're mining for, uranium, whatever. And we do the same thing in our mind, okay? Because what do? We dig out, whether it be ideas, whether it be memories, whether it be fantasies, right? We can pull these out of our mind, and depending upon how effective our manifestation skills are, we can bring them to life. We can take that ore out and refine it into something beautiful. And when you think of theater, we're all playing these roles, whether we're conscious of it or not. And we're pulling ideas or stories or memories out of our mind, out of the mind, okay? We're excavating and digging out what nuggets can we pull out of our experience, whether it be a good experience or not so good. We can pull something out. We can extract. It could be a lesson, or it could be a moment of joy. But the idea of the theater is that, if this is the curtain, shall we say, and maybe you've got, if it's a movie theater, you've got a screen. If it's a live theater, then there's a backstage, right? And this is where the actors and the technical crew or whatever hang out and do their thing. The same thing happens in each of our minds, right? We have this population, this constituency of cells and neurons and synapses and all kinds of stuff that's relaying back and forth, distributing throughout the body. There's a constant action, and not all the action you can direct, right? A lot of the activity is autonomous. You can't control, your lungs from breathing unless you just try to hold your breath. But you see how long that's gonna last. Your lungs beat on their own. Your heart beats on its own. The lungs breathe on their own. The heart beats on its own. These things are gonna happen without your conscious participation. But then there's other aspects to the performance that you, as the director of your particular presentation, your movie, your theatrical production, where you cast, you decide who is, some parts of your cast you inherit, right? Your family, you're part of that. But then you're going to add cast members, you're going to add friends and colleagues and lovers, and you, as the casting director and the theoretical director of your particular performance, to a certain degree, that's the role that we all have. Because unless you were directing your own life, somebody else is going to direct it for you. That's the nature of what we're a part of, okay? As humans, if you or I are going to be passive and allow the forces around us to shape who we are and what our experience is, then at best we can say we're a walk-on, in a lot of other productions. But I would propose that each of us is a director, is the star of the show, is the producer of our own productions, and that production is going to interact with other productions. So we're going to do a few episodes on this. This is just to kind of introduce, where we're coming from. But this theater of mind, that's when we think about the human mind. But there's also the cosmic mind. Some would call the mind of God, which includes all of the cosmos, right? Not just even this so-called universe, but the multiverse, or on into infinity. Some consider that to be the workings of the mind of God, and we are in the mind of God. Okay, so again, it depends on how you want to see it, and that's the way when we look at Scripture, it's a similar thing. You can read these verses, and then you begin to get a projection in your mind. It begins to play out as you're reading it or as you're listening to someone. It plays out, but it may play out in my theater of mind a little different than your theater of mind, right? So I might pull ideas out of my mine. You know, I may pull out silver, you may pull out gold, another person diamonds, and we're speaking symbolically, right? Because mine, which is a physical thing, in the external, in the internal, where we say a lot of this takes place, in the internal, right? The mind is the mind. And we have a theater where this play of life plays out and it interacts. So as we go forward, maybe it could be helpful for some to begin, maybe even look at this as a projection, right? We're reading and describing and trying to gain an overstanding, and understanding of, the forces of the universe and the laws of the universe and so on and so forth. But we always have to remember that it's going to get filtered through the theater, your theater and my theater on an individual basis. So sometimes, we can kind of fall into the illusion that what is up on my stage is up on your stage. And that's not necessarily the case. So maybe that's another way of looking at all this is, if we look at this as in the mind's eye, okay? In the mind's eye, the third eye, through your intuition, okay? Maybe we begin, these concepts will begin to have a bit more resonance, okay, if we begin to see these not as how we think somebody else wants us to see them, but how we can perceive them in a way that resonates most effectively in our theater, because it's always going to be filtered through an individual theater, an individual mind. And we come together and we can agree on congruences, but there can never be a guarantee that what I see, you see. Anyway, thank you once again. I want to thank all people that are, again, continuing to check out these videos. I want to thank Tony because he's been doing great work on the technical end and with the videos and music. Right on, man. Really appreciate how you come through with that. And, new subscribers, people that, are digging some of this stuff, not getting it, don't care, whatever the point is that, again, the idea is that we're all stimulating each other and we're learning from each other. So hopefully, you're getting something out of this. Thank you for all the comments. Appreciate those who kind of, can vibe with the fact that this stuff is not something that you are going to expect everybody's going to be able to be interested in, right? It's going to click with some people a bit more than other people, and that's all cool because we're all different. Once again, thank you and peace.